Croeso I Plas Newydd ac i'r Saloon. Welcome to Plas Newydd and to the Saloon. Mae'n edrych braidd yn wahanol heddiw yn tydi. Ond sut ydd ystafell yma'n edrych rai misoedd yn ôl? It looks a bit different today, but what was it like in this room a few months ago?
The Six Markers never wanted to make the house a formal house. It was always going to be a family home. So the saloon was a comfortable room. You could probably imagine what it might look like from imagining your own saloon, but trying to take it back 100 years. So, okay, no widescreen television, but there are sofas, tables, chairs, family photographs, paintings, which most of us don't have of our family, but paintings on the wall of the family. I think it was probably the key room in the house. I don't think people should think that mansions are different from modern houses. They're just bigger. Lord and Lady Anglesey lived in this floor of the property till 1976 when they gave it to the National Trust. That was the room that they sat in the evening and played the piano, and the kids would get their board games out and play them on the table, or, you know, run their toy cars along the floor. It's the heart of the house. Any saloon is.
Dyma fynd â chi nôl i'r 10fed o Fedi 2011. Diwrnod digon cyffredin, a phawb wedi mwynhau, tan. Let's take you back to the 10th of September 2011. Another normal open day, until...
I was on duty that night, so when I was doing my sort of walk around before setting the alarm completely, I heard water just outside of the saloon here, and decided that it probably wasn't a good idea to walk through the doors because of the amount of water that you could hear. We could sort of stood outside the door listening for a while, and we decided we would need more help.
About 10 past 8, there was a telephone call. I heard the voice of Kat, the house steward, who sounded quite upset and said there was a bit of a problem downstairs in the saloon. So I immediately just came straight downstairs. Kat was obviously quite distressed.
So it was actually quite terrifying because nothing like that had ever happened to me before, and I knew that I would have to get help, really. You're kind of taught to keep calm in those situations, but when it's actually happening, sort of all my body was shaking.
I was at home watching TV in my sitting room, and I picked up the phone, and it was the house steward on the phone. I couldn't understand what she was saying. She was terribly upset at the time. And then her partner came on the phone, Alan, and he managed to explain to me that there was water pouring through the ceiling of the saloon, and they thought that the ceiling might come down. Obviously, my next thing was, I'm getting in the car. So I came over here as quickly as I could.
I think at that point it really hit me that this was actually quite serious. And I then said to Kat, right, okay, emergency procedures now come into place. Let's get the emergency salvage store open, and I think we need to go and get some hard hats, some lighting, and lots of equipment. We needed to deal with one of the items, which is a rather heavy bust of Lady Caroline, incredibly heavy, and we didn't want to keep sort of moving it and from one place to another. So we actually brought in a wheelie bin from outside, and we brought that into the room and got a very large blanket. And what we did, we put the bust inside the blanket, and 4 of us got at each corner, and we slowly lowered it into the wheelie bin. So that caused quite a stir when we had visitors coming in here afterwards. Were asking what was in the bin. Had we just used it for rubbish? When we lifted the lid up and could show this bust of Lady Caroline, it caused quite a stir, really.
So the books, a couple of the books got really wet, and the wetter a book is, the more damaging, because as it dries out, the water evaporates and the paper doesn't react very well, and the glues don't react very well to water. So we actually had to freeze some of our books. So that meant moving some of the cakes from our freezer in the catering department into a different one, and putting our books in there. The books are much happier frozen, and they will remain like this until we can get a professional conservator to come and have a look at them. They will put them probably in a vacuum, which will then completely eliminate the water state, and will take it straight to dry, from frozen to dry.
Wrth i'r noson fynd yn ei blaen, roedd rhaid dechrau meddwl am y bore wedyn. As the night progressed, thoughts turned to the next day. We were due to open in less than 12 hours. Was this going to happen? And was it a difficult decision to make?
I actually took that decision at something like 2:30 in that morning. We decided when we laid out the music room, we laid it out deliberately so that we didn't impede access around the room. So we started the salvage and we decided immediately whether or not it was possible to open.
But we can't let the visitors down, and we just thought it'd be fantastic for the visitors to actually see the kind of work that we do get involved in when things go wrong.
It was clear that we weren't going to be able to open the saloon, but I didn't see why people shouldn't be able to see the rest of the house, and I thought that it would be right for us to be open about what we were doing in the saloon and what had happened. But we'd only lost one room. It was a functioning property, and I think it was right for us to be honest about that. I didn't think twice about closing the property. We did everything from that day forward in front of the public, and I'm pleased we did.
Wedi'r clirio, mae'r ystafell yn wag. Felly mae angen penderfyniad. Be nesa? Once the salvage had finished, the team were faced with an empty room. So what next?
So the exciting thing is what to do with the kind of blank canvas that we have in the room. So because it can't go back to how it was until sort of March 2013 when the ceiling's dry, we've kind of got an opportunity to interpret the room in a different way.
Yes, people don't need to worry. We're actually going to put it all back how it was in 12 months' time. But I think it'll be a little bit of fun over the next few months, and hopefully our visitors will take this on board and really sort of flock here to see what it is that we're doing here, and that we're being quite imaginative in how we're going to present it.
It's always when something terrible happens that you realise what a great team of people you've got. And that whilst ultimately I was responsible for everything, there is no way on earth that I would have been able to do any of the salvage without having not only people like Kat and Barbara on the ground with the right training to do it, but also in the long run and today all the resources of the National Trust, both here at Plas Newydd and in Wales and in the wider organisation, to give me support, advice, the financial security to do it going forwards. I think that's an important thing to say, really, that the strength of the National Trust lies in its staff, their commitment and their skills.